Diary entry number 27. The isolation move. Welcome back to the Nervous System Diaries. At the time, I truly believed I was just being a supportive partner. Number 2 told me that if I wanted him to have more home time as a truck driver, we needed to move closer to Interstate 80 and somewhere near the center of the country. He asked me to look up places, so I did. I picked a few towns and eventually he chose one. Around the same time, he'd only been a truck driver for around 6 months when he was promoted to a trainer. Back then, I thought it was a huge accomplishment. Looking back, I learned that the company promoted almost everyone into that position. He was finally making good money. Between his new income and the bus accident settlement, we were finally able to make a fresh new start, or so I thought. I packed our entire house up by myself. When he came home, all he had to do was pick up the U-Haul and hook my vehicle behind it. I even loaded the truck while he slept so we could leave early the next morning. As we drove to our new home, he made me promises. He even bought me a new ring, and he said, "This is our fresh start. You and Puppy can stay home while I'm on the road." For a little while, I believed him. After paying the deposits, utilities, buying a few pieces of furniture, and making a trip to Sam's Club, I knew exactly how much money we had left in the account. Around $3,000. Then he left for the road again almost immediately to begin training new drivers. I didn't mind being home alone. Honestly, I loved making a house feel like a home. It was October, but even then, he let me put up the Christmas tree early. After working through COVID, I needed something joyful. Something that made the house feel warm. Puppy and I slowly started to settle in. Then number 2 called me and said that he had ordered me a couch from Amazon. I thought, that was sweet. The next day I asked if I could buy a few more things for the house. Nothing extravagant, like curtains and stuff like that, and like maybe a new set of towels. I knew we had the money. To my complete shock, he told me no. He said there was only $100 left in the account. 100. I remember sitting there wondering, where did the other $3,000 go? The couch had only cost around $200. The math simply didn't add up. When I questioned it, he immediately started adding numbers in his head. He explained where every dollar spent supposedly went. He spoke with such confidence that eventually I questioned my own memory instead of questioning his. But something inside of me knew. The money had disappeared. And to this day, I still don't know where it went. A few weeks later, I noticed something else. He received a brand new bank card. Same bank, different card. The reason why I noticed was because the card he had our picture on it. And this one was just a regular bank card. When I asked about it, he casually said, "That's probably just because I moved and I'm the account holder." That explanation never sat right with me. Eventually I realized it wasn't a replacement card. It was an entirely different checking account. One I couldn't see, one I couldn't access. I also think he opened it because of that reason. If he paid with something with our picture on it, people usually questioned or said that was cute or something. So by him having a different card meant that he didn't have to use the one with our picture on it. His paycheck would still go into our joint account. Then he'd quietly transfer the money into the secret account. Suddenly, I couldn't see where the money was going. Eventually, I stopped even checking the account altogether. I deleted the bank account from my phone. Why bother? Every question about money ended in an argument anyways. I didn't know it then, but that was financial abuse. Then came something that absolutely broke my heart. One afternoon, he called while he was picking up his new trucking students. I stayed on the phone with him while he talked to them. Before I could hang up, I heard him tell one of his students, "Yeah, my girlfriend is Asian too." He wasn't talking about me. Everything inside of me shattered. I hung up crying. He called back almost immediately. "Why did you hang up?" I told him what I had heard. I told him I was heartbroken. He got angry. He said I misunderstood. He said that was somebody else's voice. Then I started drama while he was on the road. Somehow, once again, it became my fault. Not long after that, the company started paying drivers more if they trained women. Of course, he volunteered. One time he came home with one of his female trainees. As she sat in the truck, waiting to leave, I looked up into the cab while he was reaching for his phone. His lock screen wasn't me. It wasn't us. It was a picture of an Asian woman. He never once put a picture of me on his phone. I stood there, trying to convince myself it didn't matter, but it did. Later that evening, we were supposed to be playing a game together online. His character suddenly stopped moving. He wasn't answering me. He was texting another woman. She even messaged me while he was sitting in the same house. When I questioned him, he told me she was some crazy woman from his past. He told me to block her. Then, he claimed the picture on his phone wasn't anyone he knew. It was just some random woman whose picture he liked. Again, I pushed my feelings down, because by then he had already told me if I kept accusing him of things, he would cut me off financially. Then one day, while he was talking to me on the phone from the truck, I heard screaming, yelling. His female trainees were arguing with him. It became so overwhelming to me, I had to hang up. Several hours later, he called me back. He said he had to drop those bitches off. I didn't know exactly what had happened, but I knew him. I knew his temper. I knew how quickly he became angry when women challenged him. A few days later, he lost his job. His explanation was that the company was going in a different direction. But I accidentally saw an email. Those women had reported him for sexual harassment, and that's why he was fired. He came home. I found him another trucking company to apply for. This one had a terminal in our new town. He could even take passengers. Sometimes Puppy and I would ride along with him on short trips. Those were actually kind of fun. I just wasn't ready to do a long trip with him. They'd been the last moments of peace with her that I had. Puppy was almost 10 years old. She developed a tumor. One day, it burst. A week before her 10th birthday, I had to let her go. October of 2021. I held her as she took her last breath. The kindest thing that number 2 ever did for me was have her cremated. My whole world ended that day. Puppy wasn't just my dog. She had saved my life years earlier. She was my reason for getting out of bed. My reason for surviving. Without her, I honestly don't know if I wanted to keep living. I wasn't present anymore. I was just existing. Even number 2 noticed how deeply I was grieving. But instead of comforting me, he said something I'll never forget. If you die, people will think I did it. I'm just going to have to keep you on the truck with me so I can keep an eye on you. Looking back, he didn't use my grief to help me heal. He used it to tighten his control. The one thing that had always grounded me was gone, and he knew it. From that moment forward, my world had become much, much smaller. Sometimes abuse doesn't begin with bruises. Sometimes it begins with a promise. Let's start over. Will be better for us. You won't have to work anymore. I'll take care of you. In this episode of the Nervous System Diaries, I share the move that I believed would finally give us the fresh start we had been hoping for. Instead, it became the beginning of a complete isolation, financial control, slowly replaced partnership. Questions about money became arguments. My independence disappeared one decision at a time. I was made to question my own reality while believing I was simply being a supportive partner. Looking back now, I can clearly see the pattern. At the time, I couldn't. Also, I share one of the hardest moments of my life, the loss of my sweet puppy, who had been my main reason for surviving so many dark years. Even that heartbreaking loss became something that was used to control me. If you've ever wondered why someone doesn't just leave, I hope this episode helps you explain that abuse is rarely one event. It's thousands of tiny moments that slowly reshape your reality until control feels normal, all while you're still wearing a smile so nobody knows. If this story sounds familiar, please know that you're not alone. I'm not sharing these memories to gain sympathy. I'm sharing them because someone listening may finally realize that what they're living through now has a name. I'm a soft-spoken survivor, and this is the Nervous System Diaries.